And we are live. Hey kids, I'm Rob the Builder. Can we build it? Yes, we can. How you doing, David Bassman? Alrighty. Today, dunkelgrun, dark green. Yeah, that's all for the. That's pretty much the nuts and bolts we are applying our dunkelgrun to the BF 109A. Nuts and bolts of the scenario. Now, to that end, good people, let's get that hose over here. Excuse me. Oh dear. Now, in we come. Now, hey man. Now, we all know the drill, peeps. And the coffee comes around. Not the coffee. The camera comes around. Excuse me a moment. All right. Now, this morning I hit this with some varnish so as we could mask up with impunity. We don't have to do any lines. All we need to do is just separate the top from the bottom, basically. Hang on, that's a bit blurry. There we go. So, yeah. All right, let's do that. Now, a lot of this we don't even need to worry about. For example, this. This is just an underside piece. We're not doing that. Let's pop that over to there. Likewise, these. Now, what we might do with these a little bit later today, as in this one, is that's actually a filter. Now, the back part of it, we can grunge up a bit. Now, these we're going to need to do. These, there, and boom. Right. $32. That's correct me if I'm wrong. In your part of the world, that's pretty full on. That's like shit. If I was to try and translate that to Australian terms, I'd be thinking, in the 40s, well into the 40s, which does happen on occasion over here. Where have I put my thick tape, guys? That's the one I'm looking for. Who would have thought? I actually put shit away. Now, there's a scary notion. Notion in the ocean. Do I? Now, pop that there. You can go to there. I need to blow my nose again. And I'm back. Now, aha! I've been looking for this. When I was yesterday, I did, because I don't know if you recall, I reckon it would be this one. I had misplaced this one when we were doing the airbrushing, so I painted that by hand, and I discovered that I'd misplaced this. Now, this is a 109 canopy, one piece, and ideal for masking, who would have thought, 109s. And yeah. Oh, hey, Doc, how are you doing? Yeah, that's sounding a bit more, a bit more pleasant. I can understand your, 32 in Wales. I mean, what the fuck? Over here, that's of course, quite normal in summer, bearing in mind it's your summer. And at the right time or place, can even be quite pleasant as a temperature. one. And but I know that certainly when it's in your part of the world, that's unusual and unpleasant. I do recall hearing. Now, when did I hear it? There was a heat wave in Europe with temperatures unprecedented. I think it was again 30s, and people were actually dying of heat stroke, which is unheard of in Europe. And yeah, I seem to recall, not use of that wonderful word, seem to, or that wonderful concept, seem to, that the deaths occurred in Belgium or something. It wasn't that long ago, a couple of years. Yeah, look, I believe the term or the concept of super hot is going to be pretty much a universally applicable as far as it goes these days. We actually got off really lightly in Australia this summer, but in time, it's been a while since we've had a brutal summer, and when it arrives, I'm expecting it's going to be absolutely savage. Yeah. Okay. So 1976 is the worst on record, is it, David? I'm assuming by that concept of not. And if so, how does the current weather compare? Excuse me. There's a bit there I should have filed off. Shit. It's annoying. Oh, actually, or is it? I bet I should have. Yeah, it is. What I'll do. Give me a moment. It's over here. What I seek. Rather than file, I'm going to just snip off that a little bit. We'll tidy that up later. Later, dude. Yeah, over here it's getting to, I know that certainly in some parts of the country, I mean, it varies. I'm talking about the experience of weather I'm having is obviously here in Adelaide. But I know that in, whilst we've come off quite lightly, the eastern states have been copying it sweet and for some time now. And as a nation, we're getting progressively hotter and hotter and hotter. That's the thing. What I should do where is dunkelgrun? Here is dunkelgrun. How much dunkelgrun do we have? Plenty. There we go. Right. Well, we're almost already done on the masking. How excellent. Now, with this one, that's where the tricksy bits will be on the fuselage more. Now, that's too short. Okay. Now then, Oh, here we go. Yeah, right, 4 to 6. Okay. I see how that rolls. So pretty much half your summer was hot. If we go by the... Here's something that's interesting, guys, that I've noticed, and you guys have, I assume, had a similar experience to some extent in your own countries, is the seasons are changing, man. And where it used to be, you could pretty much, yes, you could pretty much roll with your 4 seasons concept. The alignment of them has changed. The duration of some has changed. It's a wee bit now. Let's have a look here. Right. Now, most of that is all done. In fact, there's a whole, I'll zoom in for you so you can see what we're going to be doing. Now, the only bit of this we actually need to mask up, obviously the cockpit, the engine, because the cowlings are different. Actually, that's what I haven't set up, the cowling. We can do that directly. But we need to mask off this little line there. Now, that's not too hard. But glad I had a look at that, because yeah, I forgot the engine cowling needs to be done. Zoom out. Now, delete. Because what I want to do, and this is part of the reason why I'm doing it all, excuse me, a little bit separately, is have the engine cowling open. Now, to achieve this, give me a moment. What are the pieces that make the cowling? Maybe I need to do some sawing. I might do. Right. They give us all that beautiful engine detail, and then they're going to try and cover it up. I mean, what the hell goes on with that, kids? Right. C22. And there's no other way around that. Okay. In which case, I mean, option 2 is to just keep the whole thing off like it was, but I want to prop it up properly. Let's have a look at C22 and see if some surgery is an option. Hang on. Now, happily, they have a part layout. Aha. 22 and 23. And they are, in fact, 2 halves, I would suggest. That's what it looks more like, which is what I want. It's what they want. Give me a moment. Find the relevant part, for fuck's sake. Excuse me. That's a typo, I reckon. They've got C22 and C22. I think it's C22 and C23. Now, which is good, because then if I mask off this bottom part, trim off that side part there, what these are going to become, I'll give you a zoom in. Okay, see, hang on, let me get a piece of paper behind this so I can get a bit more clarity on it. Now, excuse me, these are going to be much easier than I'd thought, happily. These, now it said C22 to form the cowling, which would be, give us a moment, it's one of these. At the end of the day, though, you can see that it's not going to be a complete engine cowling. Besides, that's not what I want to do. What we're going to see, in fact, you can even see it here quite happily. One side, the other side, that's where the gun's going to go. But what we're going to do, once we've painted them, we're going to have them up rather than down to show off our engine. That's the plan. First step, a little bit of masking in here. Trim that off, file, mask up the bottoms, and we are ready to rock and or roll. Zoom out. That's the plan, kids. Oh, here we go. You're incorrigible. Good on you. It is a good price, though. Get rid of that. And what I should also consider, give me a moment, what is the corresponding part that goes to the very front of... That's why. I was wondering why I was painting this way, and it's because of all the small stuff that's got to go on the engine, that were I to put all that on and mask up, I'd possibly knock off. That's why. That all makes sense now. Good on you, big boy. You've thought that through. Now, now the very front part is C6. Now, the reason I'm checking that is because there are a few options on that. C6 being the one that is there. Okay. Boom, that is C6. Right, and we're going to trim that out as well. There we go. Trim off the bottom, I reckon. Alrighty. Now, yep, just checking I'm not lobbing anything away that I need. Right, a couple of bits of tape is all that's really required on these. And a bit, actually, first, what I wouldn't mind doing is trying to keep those... Actually, no, I don't even need to do that. I was going to keep the gun things clear, but I don't even need to do that. Just tape them on and away we go. So, oh yeah, nice. Firefly. They were a bit kick-ass. Very good idea. Because let's face it, the standard Tiger had a pretty much more heavy-duty capacity when it came to laying down the law. Alrighty. Yep. We'll just pop them there. Nice and easy, that. And now this one, I haven't done the inside of this one yet, but I'll probably use blue tack on. In fact, I'll go a step further on. Probably I will use blue tack on that. Get these out the way because I don't need them right now. And what we'll do is, there we go, boom. Get these out of the way because I don't be wanting to spray them. Right. Now, actually, what I should do, well, I think to give this a bit of a shake. Spitfire 1B. I've got to get myself a Spitfire 1B fairly soon. Once I've finished my extensive line of Mustangs, Spitfires are next. I'm planning on doing Marks 1 through to certainly 9, 11 if I can get one. And the reason I'm stopping there is because they were the ones that mostly saw active service. The Mark 14 was around in 1945, but didn't get a lot of action. So I'm quite able to sort of like settle on the Mark 11. All the ones that were active in World War II sort of style is the basic premise here. Now I've given that a pretty thorough shake. In fact, we can get back just masking this up, which shouldn't take that long, hopefully. Now, alrighty, now what we'll do the nice easy option on the front. Actually, no, we'll cover this area first. Well, I see what's happened there. Okay, now, so what exactly is our line? Aha. It's a slightly curved one. That's a bit cunty. Or so I think it is. Now, so what I would be best served to do, I'll give you a zoom in. A bit more even. Right. As you can see, we go from the wingtip and it's a slow curve that follows the line up to the tail and down. A straight line would have been nicer, but they're cunts. That's fine. Alrighty, zoom out. So, there's a bit there that got missed because I wanted to cover over the wheel well. That part came up nicely. This side we have to do a little touch up. That is fine. So, angle is there. Okay. The next question, which tape do you start with? Let's see how we roll with this one, maybe. That should enable us to do what we need to do. Hopefully. Now, so we're starting from right there. All right. There we go. That easy. Well, theoretically. Well, not theoretically, it's happened. Let's see how we go for the other side. Now, where are the bloody scissors? Rob, what are you doing, boy? Now, yep. this now. What I would like to do when I get with my Spitfires is try. I know that I've got the 9C of Klosterman, so I'll build that. I'm going to do the 5A of Douglas Bader. Yep. I haven't identified whose 5B I'm going to do, or Mark 8 for that matter. But I need to get a Mark 1. I've got a Mark 2, but I want to get the decals, ideally, of Paddy Finnegane. I believe he flew a Mark 2 at one stage. Yeah. Oops, daisy. Oh, yep, I jagged that. Nice and smooth. The power of the jag in operation, kids. Score. Go you, big boy. Now, straight up. It gets much easier from here. I think. Yeah, it does. Winning. As for the Mark 1A, or Mark 1, I'd go for any number of options. I would want a big scoring ace just because it's, yeah. When I first started doing models, one of the things I wanted to do was the aircraft of all the top aces from the different countries. And so if I can find a 1A of maybe a Sailor Milan, he's from South Africa. Because I've actually got the 9C of Buzz Burling, who was Canada's top ace. And I've got Gabreski, who's equal top. He also had 5 in the Korean War. Although if I was to do a P-38, I'd want to do I have difficulty saying this man's name with a straight face. Dick Bong. I believe it's Richard Bong, but yeah, you know, who can help themselves. I just realised I don't need those spits there. What am I doing? Get them off of there, Rob. There we go. And in fact, erroneous. What I need to do is mask that off. But yes, I do need the engine masked off. But you know. Come on, come on. I can even just rock that back into position. That's fine. Might do a bit of that with that one too. Back we come. Back you come. A bit more. And in fact, I've done that the wrong way round. Wally. Glad I woke up to that before I started making bigger mistakes that would have made me very grumpy. What I've done is I need to do that the other way around, Rob. You go this way. It's better. Yeah, Wally, what were you thinking, eh? Hey? Now let's fix this one up, shall we? And we can also, very quickly, dear oh dear, I ask you guys. More annoyingly, it looks like it's taken some of that paint off, which it should not have done, because that's why I fucking varnished. Never mind. There we go. That's better. Dear oh dear. Well, at least I got it, as I said, at least I saw it before I made a heinous error. Into there. There we go. Into there. Actually, I might use a bit of blue tack for that. It's going to sit. Oh, you fucker. Having a bit of a time. And you know what the worst part is? Self-inflicted. There we go. It's all good. Now, what I might want to do is put that blue tack in position first. Hey, hey, hey. Now, because that way, no paint's getting into the cockpit area. There we go. And just a little bit more there. Then just the cockpit. That's relatively easy. And there we go. Dear oh dear. Can't believe I made that error, and I'm a bit grumpy about how that some of that paint is not hurled. But yeah, never mind. Mind you, a lot of it's going to be about to be painted over anyway. Now, blue tack time again. Who would have thought, eh? Cool. I'm sure you guys are caught off guard by that. Who would have thought I'd be using blue tack? Now, get that nice and thin. There. Bit heavier there. Come here, you. I ask you. Dearie me. Now, while I think too, bing, yoink, yoink, and splatch. Oh, for fuck's sake. Now, And next, a little bit more. Not quite. What we can do is make sure all those little holes are covered. A little bit more there. And then I'll pop that on there, and then we're ready to go. There we have it. Now when we do the, that's too much. When we do the Schwarzglun, a lot of this masking can just remain in place. Then we get off of there. Damn you. You can stop that knees bent advancing behavior too. Stop that. It's silly. A bit suspect, I think. Ha-ha! Yes, more Monty Python, what can I tell you? Boom. Splash. There we go. Ready for dunkelgrun. Alrighty. Get these out the way, out the way, out the way. Why are the two toothpicks here? In the bin. Out the way. Temporarily out the way. Actually, I'll pop them over to this side so I can do my transfer across. Sorry about that, guys. Just knocked the camera. Now, ding, ding, and ding. That's all the bits we're going to require. Well, yeah, the bits we're about to paint. Dunkelgrun is here. Shake, 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 shake. Is that the empty one? That's the empty one. Rob, what are you doing, boy? Why is it even there? Put it in the bin. Dingus. Now, next, airbrush. Bing. Delay. Right. Now come in, let's get the hose. Delay. Compressor on. Beautiful. Well, certainly appears to be so. I can state with a fair degree of certainty that it is, given how regularly I've been using it lately. There we go. Let's do the customs official routine. Get the rubber glove on. Get a mouthful of coffee. Yeah. I made my coffee at the start of the stream. And by this stage of the stream, it's actually stone cold. And you want to know something? I don't care. I'm reminded irresistibly of that scene in the original Terminator before he does the at the police station, before he does the drive-in and hit, where the two detectives are talking to each other, and the senior guy, the black guy, he picks up this coffee and takes a hearty mouthful, and his partner's there. That coffee's 2 hours cold. You say, then chips in with, I put my cigarette out in it, and just looks at him and goes, "Yo, mama." Yep. There's a man who just only cares about getting his caffeine. Now, as always, I've slightly overfilled, but we shall survive, I'm sure. God, I hope I do. Otherwise, I've got some real problems. Now. I probably didn't need to do the lid that fully, but now let's start with. Yeah. Oops, a days, forgot something, but camera aside. One. Do this one. Now you'll find Schwarzgrün, or this is dunkelgrun, sorry. Well, both Schwarzgrün and dunkelgrun are classic colours as far as your German aircraft go. Once I've gotten them all painted, and I'll give you a zoom in, you'll go, oh yeah, I know that colour. It's that it's just classic, like I said, Luftwaffe colouring. There. Now the wings. Boom. Alrighty. Might just top that paint up. I should bring the camera back a bit. Dunkelgrün. Boom. Top that up, and then top the reservoir up. Then we'll give some of these a bit of a re-going. And then it's cleaning time. Oh, yay. And then I'll give you a bit of a zoom in on what we've done. And the color on its own, you'll go, oh, that's textbook. Yeah, you'll see it many times. I would suggest, I don't know offhand, when you see Stukas with that sort of two color, the main color you're looking at is dunkelgrun. Where'd I put the other one? Is that one? Oh, there. Just do a little bit round the front there. Bit into there, a bit more. That's nice and solid now. Bit on the wings. There you go. One of the edges there. There we go. And oops, the toes. Give me a moment. Oh, yeah, I've done them. And finally, boom. That's pretty solid on the color front. Here we go. All right. Now, what I'll do, get this out of the way, and really, and then I'll clean, and then we'll do a bit of a zoom in. Now, what I could also do, and might, if you give me long enough, or not give me long enough, depending on time, things and stuff like that. Where do I put my bloody cotton wool buds? Is I do have a Stuka with Rodel Stuka has the dunkelgrun, schwarzgrun thing on it. Now, it was on, hasn't always been in a protected sort of display, so it might be a bit faded and dusty, but I might see how we go for time. As I said, we're looking, oh yeah. What I might do is go and get it, bring it in, and you can see what I'm talking, and you'll see how the color contrast will operate on the 109A once it's done. Now, once I've gotten this thinner out, I'll turn the boost off, Oh, it's got miles to go. Come on, hurry along, hurry along. My patience is limited. Still got. Oh, yep. Deary man. Sometime today. Ooh. Wonder how easily this stuff will clean out. Some stuff cleans more easily than others, you know. Oh. Yeah, we are good. Right. Glove off. And for the time being, at least until such time as I run thinner through that again, both off. Compressor off. And so the game begins. Alrighty. Now, I've got to say, I'm not looking entirely or feeling entirely unhappy with how those coats are looking. And yeah. Anyway, now what I'm considering doing, in the same way that I've done all the airbrushing on the kits, I'm thinking of doing all the touch-ups in the same sort of a vein. What I might even do, though, is first I'll identify if there's any color overlaps. I don't think there are on the P51D and the 109A, but ultimately, given that touch-ups on any kit are, well, pretty minor, there is nothing to say we can't go over, right, this touch-up day, do the whole lot. You know what I'm saying? Because, well, it's probably not an unachievable objective. Now, through there. All right. Now, next. This one's looking like it's going to be a fairly cooperative one to clean as a colour. For those who are unaware of what I mean, I'm sure my regular viewers know what I mean, so they've heard me bitch about it. Some colours seem to clean off an airbrush more easily than others. I don't know if you guys have had that experience. Any of you other guys have had that experience? Is it just me? Or am I full of shit? I don't know. Who knows? Who knows? I would attribute it, rightly or wrongly, to the density and requirements of a given color to... No, she's looking good. Excellent. Yeah. A big go-to point of this is, can I see through it clearly? Yes. Always a winning point in my eyes. Now, spanner. Where to put the case? Rob. Here we are. Now, where is, aha, there is our angle. And that should be enough. And is excellent. Now, no, nothing in there. Alrighty. Now we'll get our little scrapey thing. All right. Ooh, I got a bit of mucky muck out of that, I reckon. Indeed I did. Might give that a bit more of a scrapey scrape. Oops, careful I don't nail myself, as that would be most unfortunate in my eyes. Alright, now, next. Now, I would say, once I've got this done, as far as the cleaning, we've done a bit of a zoom in. What we'll do is I will go and get that Stucker so I can show you how the dunkelgrun contrasts against schwarzgrun. So yeah, see how we go on that one. All right. Alrighty. Next, time to get down to the nitty gritties. Is that a bit more mucky muck there? No. All right. So, dunk. There we go. Oh, look at that, dear, eh? Cool. And there'll be plenty more of that. Yeah, that's why I've got the airbrushing booth actually, mate. Because as you would be aware, the paints cannot be airbrushed outside a certain temperature ranges, and that's the airbrushing booth, because it removes the fumes, enables you to have I mean, in Australia obviously we have a need of a cooler. I don't know how much of that sort of style of aircon guys need to worry about generally, obviously now being different. But the bottom line is that because you can go into what is effectively a climate controlled environment by using your aircon, you can airbrush inside, and this will remove the fumes for you, or certainly the bulk of them, and thus you can brush. Would I recommend people get one? Depends. It's up to them. I thought it was a worthy investment. That's my take on it. I'm trying to remember how much it didn't seem to cost that much in my eyes. Now, note, that's my opinion and a person in my financial position. And yeah, the other people might look at it and go, nah. But I seem to recall it wasn't that much. I can't even recall what I paid. Didn't care. I think at the time it was only about $300 or something. It wasn't what I viewed as a lot at the end of the day. That's the nuts and bolts of the scenario in this statement. Yeah, it means you can brush regardless of the weather conditions. You do need to be able to connect your vent to the window, and obviously that's going to let some of the temperature in. But dear, look at all of that, eh? Cool. That's what you got your aircon on for. That covers that. Yeah. So there we have it. That's my thoughts. That's a way you can address it, depending on various factors. Like I said, I seem to recall this wasn't too much. It's a pretty easy thing to set up. Yeah. One thing I would say about this particular design that you're seeing me use, I seem to recall there weren't too many others, but whatever. Maybe it was just where I was looking. One of its failings is that it's just purely an airbrushing booth. If you want to put any weight on it, it's actually raised up a bit, and the floor of the booth is quite flexible. And that's why you'll see I've got 2 wooden boards under here. There's 2 because there's a little thing in the middle. I had to go one piece up back as another piece. The cutting board I've got just because that way if I want to do any cutting or something on inside the booth, I can without damaging the floor. These are things that you need to consider when purchasing. So it's not, to me, it wasn't just a one-off purchase. I needed to invest in a few other bits and bobs to really get it to work, That was my take on it. Yeah. There we go. Now I can get this out of the way for the moment, so I don't need that anymore. Now, I'm going to give that one more go from this side, that side that is. And then I reckon we're very close to being cleaned. Yeah. Yeah, there was a bit more in there. speaking for myself, I would rather be, what's the adjective I'm looking for? Now we're getting there. One more. I don't think there's any such thing as being too thorough on your airbrush cleaning. Or indeed any type of brush cleaning. There we go. Still a little maybe. One more for good measure, and then I'm going to do my little trick of hoping that the, and bearing in mind I'm going to run thinner through it anyway. Alrighty. Yeah, that's better. Much nicer. Now, bing. Get that out of the way. Just make sure if there's anything in there. Just give it a quick wipe around. All right. Yeah, it's not perfectly clean, I can tell you that right now. Rubbing. All right. Ow, my left wrist is giving me some jip for some reason. Actually, my left forearm started giving me jip the other day. Not quite sure what the dealio is with it. Some people would suggest it's a cramp developed by some of my recreational activities. Now, let's try that again. Tell you, it can be persistent, this shit. It really can. Further to some people who think you can clean your airbrush just by running thinner through it. I'll leave you to work out my thoughts on this. I did go fishing, mate. Yes, I did. The results were a bit subpar in our eyes. We caught a few. But there is a bit of a concern we have in terms of there's a bit of an ecological disaster occurring in my neck of the woods at the moment, which is pretty full on to think about. And what it is, it started down in an area that we actually go where our favorite river is, but just out on the coast. And what it was this toxic algal bloom. The seas that were 2.5 degrees in our area were 2.5 degrees warmer than normal. And of course, this algae to bloom, and the result of which fish couldn't breathe. It's affected a whole stack of shit, and there's been significant deaths of marine life. Like we're talking about big numbers. And even killing kangaroos, a few sea lions. It's made humans very unwell. And one of the things we're wondering is to what extent we tend to fish upriver, but yes, in the saltwater environment, to what point has that sort of thing affected our fishing? Because, of course, we go for saltwater species. Our go-to species, mate, is bream. Now, the bream you're thinking of is probably similar to ours, but different. The southern black bream is a saltwater species. It will go quite a long way upriver. It's an estuarine species generally. It will go quite a long way upriver and even quite likes brackish water as a species. And that's where you generally find your absolute monsters. A lot of people go fishing for them in the lower reaches, and you go, yeah, good on you guys. If you want to get some serious bream action, you go upriver. To give you a for example, okay, a mature bream over here, obviously. A bream reaches maturity at about 25 centimeters. By the way, they fight like the burger, and they can be cunning fish to catch. Like, yeah, they're ones that'll make you think. You got to be on your game. There's craft to this game. You know, it's cool. It's a bit of a dance with the fish. That's where we go. And basically, okay, like I said, a mature bream is 25 centimeters. Well, that's breeding age. Legal size, we put our fish back, but legal size, if you want to keep one, is 30. Now, where we prefer to go, we've scored quite a number over 40. And when you score a fish, or bream, that's 40 years old, or 40 centimeters, it's about 20 years old. It's an old fish. And, you know, you don't want to be a meanie head to the older ones. They've been there for a while. They've earned their freedom, they have. And we generally just let them go. But we've scored some absolute beasts. Actually, excuse me, I'm going to have to move the camera away. In fact, what I'll do is I'll flick that light. So that way you don't really need to see me emptying the... But yeah, my mate's biggest is 45. My biggest is 44. We've both scored quite a number well over 40. So, yeah, the beasts are in the brackish water. The other thing about bream is that you need to go light tackle. They will know if you're going... If the line's too heavy, they'll just look at you and go, yeah, no worries. They're not up for that sort of game, like a lot of species aren't. You know what I mean? Let's face it, there's a lot of fish that if the line's too heavy, they're just going to go, nah. And bream is certainly one of them. So when you latch onto a decent sized one and you got light line, mate, it's on like Donkey Kong. It's good shit. Sometimes we will go for over here. Excuse me while I just... We also have in our freshwater rivers quite often there's European carp, and they're actually like a real problem in certainly in the Murray, which is, I don't know if you're aware, our only major river, really. Yeah, I did wonder about that with your name. Yeah. Yeah, well, that's pretty much the same sort of experience you get with brim. You get a 40 plus brim on 6 pound line. Oh, yeah, baby. Sometimes the bycatch can be a bit cool. By which I mean, my mate scored a 50 centimetre mulloway. Now, mulloway generally can't get much bigger than that. Mulloways, people go after them because they're one of those species of fish that are elusive and can get bloody huge, like a full. Well, over here they're a problem, but we'll sometimes go for them depending on various factors. Excuse me for a moment. I need to turn that off. And we don't mind fishing for them. Go a little bit heavier in the line because they fight hard, man. They will give you the burger when the time comes, and that's the shit you want. You don't want no easy rollover shit. You want them to grab you by the scruff of the neck and to be on, and that's good fun. But my mate, a bycatch from fishing for brim. My mate once caught a 50 centimetre mulloway. As I said, mulloway are generally people go looking for them because they're elusive, but they can get up to 6 feet in length. They're big bloody fish. And I once caught a 54 centimetre salmon. Storyteller's note, not the salmon you would be thinking in. Not the Atlantic sort of salmon or Pacific salmon even. Australian salmon are different, normally found out in the surf. A legal size, what they call salmon trout, which is a small salmon, is 21 centimeters, I think it is. I scored a... they'll hammer you. It's great. But yeah, I scored a 54 centimeter salmon. And what it was doing in the estuary, you think it must have just swum in after food and gotten trapped. Anyway, I latched into it and that was party time. Anyway, I'll show you what we've done. I knew I was having a bit of a fun time with the salmon when I saw it, actually, because they'll do the jump from the water gill rattling style. And even when I got it into the bank, it wasn't coming in, mate. It went from one side to the other side of me. My mate was trying to get the net to it, but it was just like, nah, it didn't want to know. So here is, there's our fuselage. Wings. What else? Engine cowlings. Tail fins. And finally, got two of these. One is not going to focus for you. There you go. One. And two. Done. Alrighty. Zoom out. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go and get that On the topic of carp, very quickly before I go and get the Stuka, so as you can see how the pattern will actually look on this. I'll give you some ideas. Here's something for you, Bassman. Going fishing for carp, my mate latched onto a 72 centimeter carp one day, and it was fantastic. Now, you might, do you do centimeters or do you do feet and inches? If in feet, that would be, give me a moment, I can do the maths. Roughly, so we've got 12, about a 29-inch carp. Fat fucker too, really was. And my mate was having a hell of a time with that. Even netting it was a bitch. It was great. Very exciting stuff, I'm sure. I'm sure you know how that rolls. Now, Stuka. Yeah. Come here, you. Don't give me that nonsense. It doesn't really show. It's not creepy that I'm in this light, though. Now, might shut this door. Not sure how well this will show because it's a bit dusty. No, it's not going to show that well, I don't think. Yeah, hang on. These need to be cleaned, or it needs to be cleaned, but hopefully we'll do a bit of a zoom in and hopefully you can have a... Oh, yeah. Yeah, it was, we didn't have scales, but you could just, it was a fat bugger. Almost as fat as I am. Now, there, you can sort of see. It's a bit dusty, but you can see how there's two greens there, and they're both very dark. There's a point to which you go, why are you bothering, guys? Dunkelgrun, schwarzgrun. You might, yeah, it's that very small shadal difference. There you go. You can see how, yeah, 1, 2. There's not that much in it. And yet, we'll be doing that. Now, so, what the Stuka. Thank you. That's Rudel, Hans Ulrich Rudel. He was the most decorated pilot of the Luftwaffe, and did quite a lot of carnage on the Eastern Front. However, he was undeniably a deplorable human being, because he was not only was he a card-carrying Nazi, and he believed the ideology. So that's a bit of a poser on its own. But he actually helped a lot of he's helped run the rat lines that enabled a lot of the Nazis to escape to South America. So yeah, not a nice guy, not a good person, but undeniably a kick-ass pilot. And also, it must be said, one of only, I think, 2 or 3 pilot. I think it was 3. One was Bader, one was Rudel, and there's another guy, and they were the only pilots who actually flew with prosthetics. So a bit of a jersey there as well. Anyway, that's how the paint job will ultimately contrast on our 109A. Not distinctive, but it is there. There we have it, guys. Now, that is me done for today, I think. In fact, I'll go a step further. I know. Tomorrow we shall get the Schwarzgrün, black green. Hang on, I'll just get that a bit more there. on our 109A, and then we're at a very good point with all of our kits, from the Boss Mustang to the P51D to the 109A, in that all the airbrushing is done. It will be touch-up time. Ooh, it sounds a bit saucy. But at the end of the day, it'll be a... from there, it's all very much easier. That's the bottom line. Yes, it is. Yeah. All righty. Now, that, as I said, that's me done for today. Thanks for watching, guys. I do appreciate it. First-time viewers, you know what I'm going to say to you. Follow, like, or subscribe. Other platforms. Rob the Builder on Facebook and YouTube, and Robster the Builder on Instagram and Twitch. And again, follow, like, or subscribe. Oh, thanks, Bassman. Yeah, hopefully I'll catch you tomorrow, man. My pleasure, David. I'll be on tomorrow. Whatever. Yeah, I'll be on tomorrow. It'll be Schwarzglun. Yeah. All righty. Yeah, I guess that's all I really need to say at this juncture. And at the end of the day, I will be back tomorrow at a similar kit time and on the same kit channel. And hopefully I'll catch you good people then. See yous.